So I'm talking about building a better honeypot network, one that gives you some intelligence, something more than what I'm seeing so far in stuff I've played with. I've been building this for like, I guess, the last month and a half, and new to certain things like Flask, which is I'm using to display stuff, and new to some Python stuff. So it's taken me a bit longer than some people might, and it's a little bit rough, but I have it out there on GitHub, so I'll just walk through it. So my name's Josh Pyorre. I'm a security analyst with OpenDNS and Cisco now, because we've been acquired. I was previously a threat analyst at NASA and helped build the Security Operations Center there, and a threat analyst at Mandiant. So I'm dealing with currently with four. Actually, I have a few more honeypots, but I haven't been processing the data. But the honeypots I'm dealing with in my instance are an SSH honeypot, a malware honeypot, one that involves gas tanks, which is awesome, and a SCADA honeypot, and I'll go into more detail on that too. So I'm using Kah. It's a fork of Kippo, which is a SSH honeypot, a medium interaction honeypot where attackers can connect in, and they think they're SSH'd into a system. It writes 2 log files. Kippo writes just 1 log file. Kah saves a JSON log file and log just .log. JSON's formatted for certain databases and for easier to work with it a little bit easier. They both have a little bit different information, so I process both when I'm looking through when I'm working with them. It creates session files just like Hippo. If someone connects in, it will record whatever their type, and which is great because you can replay it. But the session files aren't readable. I mean, they're readable, but it's a mess. There's actually a Python script that's included with Kippo or Kah or other forks that plays it for you. So I wrote another script that takes that and saves it out to text files. It saves those in the TTY and then session replay file. It's date file name of some sort. Kah is great because Kippo, I remember it only allows about 2 accounts to log in, and if you want, you can set up more passwords, which is a pain because you have to watch for a lot of connections and then look at the auth log, and then you can add those passwords in to a file, and then those people are allowed, or those accounts are allowed to log in. But Kah has only, I think, 2 or 3 that aren't allowed, like root, and root password, I think. Everything else is allowed. So I just wanted as many connections as possible. Some people want to specify less. I do an iptables rule to send all port 22 traffic on my honeypots to the port that Kah is listening on. And then I change my admin access so I can still get into the system and do what I need to do to a different port. Usually it's 2222. I feel like that's becoming pretty well known. I don't know. I went up one. Just. I'm also using Dionea. It's a malware honeypot. Its goal is to get a copy of the malware and it just listens on a whole bunch of ports. It's kind of a weird honeypot. It's Italian. I don't speak Italian. I don't know. Just I managed to figure out how to install it. It's kind of a pain. It writes to a SQLite database, which is also kind of annoying. Some honeypots write to log files. Some write to databases. They're all different. They're different projects. They aren't owned by a single organization, even though the HoneyNet project, I think, is trying to bring things all together. It saves malware to a folder called bis streams, which is always kind of strange. Maybe there's a reason for bis streams, but anyway, I'm just pointing out that they all save to different places. I'm also using Honeypot, which is a SCADA honeypot, and it's awesome. It imitates industrial control systems. So that writes to flat text files, which is great. And I'm looking at GasPot just because it's so cool. It emulates sensors in gas tanks, so people who connect to them can misrepresent the temperature of the gas tank and other such things. This article here from Trend Micro details the whole process, and it's actually a really great. Oh, it's a PDF. It's a whole document. But those are fun to play with. There's only, if you download the specifications for the gas tank sensors, you can find out the commands you would type, and you get to play with it. These are the open ports on just the honeypot that I'm using. For this, I had 2 honeypots running. They're both on Amazon, and I was going to spin up a whole bunch last night, but didn't do that. So, but this is what's running. Just a quick Nmap scan of this specific honeypot. So there are some obstacles. Installation is a pain because they're all different. Every honeypot is different. Dionyet doesn't like Ubuntu after 12.04 for some reason. I'm using Ubuntu. Found that out the hard way. There was a dependency it needed, so I just I'm using 12.04. I didn't want to have to limit people with what with the code that I wrote and put on GitHub. But if you want Dionyet, you have to use that, or you can try to figure it out. It's just a shell script, which I'll get into too. Current honeypot networks that are interesting. I actually only have one on here, which is the Modern Honey Network, and it's really popular, and I love it. What really got me interested in it, the guy Jason who wrote it, he's done a great job of bringing together a whole bunch of different honeypots and an installer for a server. It's basically a quick shell script. He prefers Ubuntu 12.04 as well for honeypots and server. When you install it, it provides a script that you can put on your honeypots, and it just automatically connects. It uses HP feeds, which is an interesting. It's a way to transmit data securely to the honeypot server or to other servers. The result of it is this map. It's not persistent. At the bottom, there are connections you can see as they happen, states and countries, and, well, not states, just one big, huge country. So countries just light up, and little dots appear when things happen. But if you navigate away and come back, all that goes away, and it's kind of, it's eye candy and stuff, which is, I guess, cool. There's another threat map. Threat maps seem to be the main goal of most honeypot servers, and we all know, hopefully, the Norse one. Norse one looks great. It's awesome, actually. But having been a threat analyst, the map really is useless to me. It doesn't do me anything. I don't know. So management loves to look at it, though. They love to have a big screen with a map. ThreatBut Internet Hacking Attack Attribution Map is actually the best map you can get. It makes pew sounds, like pew pew, and you can actually get that. That's available for free, the pew pew attack map, which is, I was going to install it on my honeypot server, but maybe later. So we want more. We want to be like that guy, Brian Krebs, but we don't want to learn Russian, probably, and infiltrate carding forums and get death threats. Or be like this guy, although he's an actor, but the character. We want to know what the attackers are thinking, or we want to know what these people are thinking, these who are wanted by the FBI and won't get caught because they're in China. But we deal with reports that are basically in the past. We deal with reports from the government, and a lot of these ones that I've dealt with in the past, I'll get list of domains, thousands of domains, things that are associated with some kind of botnet or something, and I'll go through these domains and I'll see legitimate domains like Microsoft.com and these things. And so you have to do a lot of busy work to get through all this crap. And it's pain, and sometimes it's really outdated. They being whatever agency or department gives you what they give you, and it's a mess. We deal with reports from companies. This was a good report, but a lot of times they're skewed towards the company. They're a marketing vehicle, and you can get some good intelligence, but it's often after a lot of work on their part, and time has passed. Just another company report. You can get reports from feeds, so you probably all, if you're interested in this kind of thing, subscribe to blogs and all sorts of stuff. Of course, this hacker Google alert doesn't get everything correct. I don't really get anything from this except news. But there's a lot of great blogs, but it's still all the past. I mean, we want to be the people releasing the blog posts and releasing the new information. So we want actionable intelligence. I want to predict the future a little bit. That's always what I've thought my goal has been as a threat analyst, is to predict the future and get to it before they can get to my organization. So my goals with this project are an easy installation. Modern HoneyNet actually covers that pretty well. It was very influential. I just didn't like the map as the goal. They have statistics too, but statistics don't help me either when I'm doing threat analysts. Secure communication. I just wanted to make sure everything was traveling in the clear. The stuff I'm using traveling safely. The stuff I'm using using the Elk stack, Elasticsearch, Kibana, Logstash. It's not secure naturally. You have to do some things on top of it. I want to embrace new technologies like Elk. So I want to get useful information. So the management issues with all these honeypots, say you have 40 honeypots out there or 100 honeypots. It's all your stuff is out there. You have all these different kinds of honeypots. Everything's in different folders, different databases. It should be easy to get to, but it's not. So this is my initial diagram. I haven't changed it. There's that thing called log move. I don't know. I just wrote some scripts that I don't have anything called log move, but I move logs. I have my honeypots at the bottom. I file move. I'm not sure about that either. But I have on the honeypots, Logstash picks up the logs and does various things with them based on filters I've written. And then I use S-tunnel to create a secure connection. It's basically transparent to the systems or to the applications that use it. And then stuff is sent over to the server, which is running Redis as a log broker or data broker. Logstash again runs, and it's picking things up with filters. And then it goes into Elasticsearch, and then Kibana display stuff. I also use, I have some scripts that, which I'm actually about to get into, that use other cool stuff. So it's pretty easy installation. I have this one script down here and these two folders right there. Just a shell script. You can see everything that it does, and you can modify it as needed. I already talked about S-tunnel. S-tunnel's great. It's really easy to configure. You can tell it to listen on a local port and send off to another IP to a port that's listening, and keeps the connection encrypted. Use Redis as a data broker. I don't know much about it except that it brokers data pretty well. So then Logstash picks it up with a cool icon, Elasticsearch, and this is a screenshot of just the dashboard that I built for in Kibana. It accesses the Elasticsearch database. You can see in this one I have a lot of SSH logins. I think I chose to view that for 1 month. I put a server online last week in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and within seconds it had connections, which is pretty cool. I've got a lot of Gaspot connections. Some of these are me testing, and I've got Compot connections. It's still actively in progress. I have filters in Logstash that look for certain things, and then that stuff gets pushed into Elasticsearch so that you see a proper count of things. But I, of course, have the threat map. The threat map has to be there. It's not as amazing as Norse, but I'm sure you can work with that. The client installation is just as easy. After you install the server, it actually writes a client shell script down at the bottom there, and this client folder, and it zips it up and saves it in a folder, and you get instructions in your terminal of how to get that and go install it on your honeypots. So the scripts that I have running, these are on the client. I have 2 scripts. I tried to keep it minimal. I didn't want too much processing done on the client systems. I have get malware info.py, and this gets just the hash right now. It's not the full functionality that I want, but it gets the hash, and it writes the information to a file for Logstash to process and send over to the other system for actual processing. Then I have read TTY, which, as I explained earlier, this just reads those TTY files from the SSH honeypot, and it saves it to normal text for processing later on. The read TTY, just see, this is what it looks like. This is actually just I opened a text file. This is a screenshot of that. So you can see it's the downloading something. And it's a messy text file, so but it's easy to parse through that with Python and get interesting information out of that. Well, it's kind of redundant, but there's a piece of the logs dash filter. It's just text. It's pretty simple to work through some if else commands. What's this screen? Oh yeah, this is my. These are the files on the server. They are passed with logstash through stunnel to sit in this folder called opt files incoming, and then my Python scripts read these files and process through them. So in the analysis folder, I have a bunch of different things. I've got these API key.txt. Those just hold my API keys for two things I'm using for the moment. I'm going to be adding more, and I'm going to get into those in a second. So virus total API, this reads hashes from that file that was sent over from the honeypots and sends it to virus total, getting back the results. And that's useful. It'll be better when I set it up to actually send files that haven't been seen yet on VirusTotal. I'm also working on integrating malware.com, or if you want your own Cuckoo sandbox inside your own. Okay, cool. Inside your own environment. Compot reader. This reads the JSON and the .log files and formats for a database. Compot reader reads, I get them mixed up because I mess with them so much. Compot just reads the one log file. Cowrie reader reads JSON and the log files and formats for a database. And then Gaspot reader, same thing. I'm using special things like the VirusTotal API, which you can use that for free, but you have a limit of, I think, 4 calls per hour, which is kind of annoying. So I'm using the paid one thanks to my company. I'm also using OpenDNS Investigate, which is basically a Google search for domains and IP addresses, which is a paid thing, or you could work there and get it for free. I'm using Cuckoo analysis. That's coming actually. So this is kind of a quick view, but just looking at Investigate data, this is a screenshot from my Intel portion of the thing, which you'll see more of in a moment. It's just, if this is a SSH connection, they connected in and they called out to these IPs right here over on the left side. And I got some information, just who is data from Investigate. Who is data is just one part of what you can get from Investigate. I'm looking at that IP, the ins.2. This is the web interface view of .2. There's the same information, this is the who is AS information. Another view of another IP. This is a connection in and the password they typed and the username. I got some ASN information, and then you could get more stuff with the API. It's all documented online. It's public. You could see all the domains associated with the various network prefixes, which is pretty cool. So in progress, I'm doing a Diana reader, which comes from SQLite, which is a little bit of a pain. And as I'm learning Python, so it was enough work for a month and a half to get everything going as it has been. But this is an active development. I'm not going to be stopping. So I'm going to keep going, and I'm hoping maybe other people would be interested in contributing. I'm doing passive DNS research as well. There's a really great free passive DNS sniffer that you can run on your system. And it'll write to a database or a text file. Malware analysis. And the ability to download malware specifically from when it comes in the honeypots to actually, a button to just mass download it all if you want to. And I want to replay log CSI cyber style, get some red code, some green code, something like that. I don't know. And download CSVs. I've just been kind of lazy. That's a really simple thing. I just need to make it so it writes to CSVs. But so you need metrics. I think I need to move a little faster. Dashboards. You need searching, and you need that threat map. So I've got the threat map, as you see, and very exciting. This is searching. I searched for Gaspot. I got some results. This is what it looks like. The Intel portion. It's kind of a mess. I mean, I'm just learning Flask, so it's not sortable yet, but I will sort it. And it's just giving me that who is information. It's really not a whole lot. I'm getting the login information. So far I'm looking at like things like gas pot connections, the command they typed, conpot connections. I need to add in the command they typed. There's a lot more I can get from this as I build it out. I also have I write a text file of all the GET requests in basically view PCAP mode into a text file that looks like this. So you can't really read it, but you look at PCAPs and follow a stream of something. It's just the GET request. A lot of interesting things. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to make it so that this becomes something that is, you can quickly look at it and go, oh, this is what's going on right now in the world. I don't know. So this is where you can get it. I made this cool fade. So I'll actually, just real quick, I think I have a second. I'll show you. I have it open. Demo gods. So this morning I couldn't connect to my. I don't know if we can see it here. Oh, here we go. I couldn't connect to it, and I was like wondering what the heck was going on, and it turns out it got the IP address changed, like on Amazon Web Services. I've never seen that happen before. It's kind of a pain to really get to, but you can kind of see connections coming in. I can't really make it smaller, but and then the Intel portion, which is probably more interesting, in my opinion, what you just saw screenshots of. So I can see successful connections. I've got some testing. Those are me this morning, actually. Bunch of that stuff, but that's not me testing. That one down there, and yeah, I can look at unsuccessful SSH, which is useful. Callouts to IP addresses. Kind of minimal at the moment. Domains. I'm sorry that the screen is so I can't. Whatever. This is the part that I like, but it's a mess. So this is malware that has been found on VirusTotal. It's a lot of Linux malware. Just a bunch of stuff. There's some DDoS stuff, and I have a link way over on the right. It's formatting, but you can actually go look at the. Oh my God. You can go look at the VirusTotal link. So, well, whatever. You get the gist of it. So, then you can read about it and all sorts of cool stuff. So I'm going to keep adding to it. Hopefully it'll become more awesome and something more useful. I wanted it to become a threat feed, something that you can use in your organization or your personal life or whatever you want, and maybe get some statistics. Also to add is more pretty metrics, because people do like that, and it actually is very useful to get a quick overview of what you think people are doing. So I think I'm almost done. Anyone have questions? What's that? Flask is a web framework. It's like Django, but it's much smaller. Yeah, it's pretty easy to work with. Yeah, it's open source. I released on GitHub. It's oh wait, let me go back to this thing, so you can write it down if you want. Available. Just go ahead and take it and use it and do what you want with it. It's all right there. It's very easy to work with. I'm going to keep on updating. I keep on committing almost every day. So yeah. The one issue is, of course, if you don't have investigate access or VirusTotal API key, those things won't work yet for you. But I'm going to add other stuff. I don't think it's right to have just things that cost money. So I like, you should be able to pull from malware.com, malwr.com, which is a cuckoo sandbox online by Shadow Server. They don't have an API really available, but we have an awesome intern. I think he's an employee now, but he's written an API for it, so he's allowing me to take that and import it into this. So pretty cool. Yeah. Anything else? Cool. All right, well, thank you very much.